Welcome to Cool Canny 1965. As promised, today I'm going to show you how I made these fancy fold-up rafter shelves. Look at that. Would you look at that? Alright, so stick around, find out. Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to hear me. I've got the fan going in the back. I do have the double fuzzies. That's not a disease, it's double microphones. Okay, for this part of the build, you probably won't see my face, but that's probably a good thing because I ain't winning no beauty contests. Alright, don't mind the noise behind me. Water air cooler. I needs it because this is Arizona. Alright, so this is the part that folds up into the rafters. So I'm going to nail this together after I put some glue on it. Just never have enough room. Spatula. Got my glue. I'm going to get that glue all over your fingers. Not fingers, fingers. Waste from the south. Always clean the area you're going to glue. Any debris. It's my fancy gluing stick. So look at that. You don't need any more glue than that. A lot of guys dunk this stuff on and you waste a lot of it. Jerks. No, I'm just kidding. Got my handy dandy. I'm not going to tell you who makes it, but you'll probably see the label eventually. But it needs to give me a sponsorship. A lot of you may recognize this table from the last build, and I'm laminating it with this plastic from, it's like a PVC material, and I overlapped it a little bit because I'm going to heat it and bend it over so you don't get splinters from the wood underneath. Alright, so let's see if we can do this without nailing our fingers together. Beauty. And we're using 1¼ inch brads. That's plenty because once that glue dries, it's like stiff. I'll show you a little trick here. That like that, and take this like this, that like that. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? Just look at that. Look at that. There's a bee buzzing around here. You're about to know what a splice water is. It's a lot easier to do it this way. You're not having to hold stuff together. You can just do this. Now also, when you push down, it kind of wanders because the glue's acting like a lubricant until it dries. So if you hold it there and you push down really hard, that'll stop that from happening. Stop that. She's a beaut, Clark. And always get your fingers out of the way because that nail could curl out and make your day a lot worse. I'll put a 5th one in there. Why not? Press my luck. Haven't had any bangers yet. Bangers when a nail curls out the side. I'm getting back into the habit of putting everything back where it belongs because it's a lot easier to find that way. Fingers out of the way, hands out of the way too in case this slips and pins your hand to the table. Then you're going to be late for dinner. And you won't be able to pick your nose. The bullets. Give me back my bullets. This thing has a stop, so when you run out of nails, it will stop, which is cool. You're not dry firing it and messing up your piston or your nail shaft. She's a beaut, Clark. Alright, now this side, I'm going to go ahead and glue both sides. Both sides live. Like butter. Like butter on bread. All we need is cinnamon. And I'm not talking about cinnamon from the Topless bar. Not that I know who that is. You'll dabble, do you? Looking groovy, man. This is some really straight wood. I'm surprised. In the big box store. Of course, I had to call through it and find the good pieces. The best pieces, anyway. Alright, again, line it up. Push down. And that'll keep it from scooting around so much. Uno. Dos. Tres. Cuatro. Cinco. Hi. Spin her around. Line this bad boy up. I already glued it. Already is a word. Already glued it. Glued it is a word. Okay, so that one a little twisted, so I'm going to pull it. Get this to line up. Keeping my fingers out of the way. Dos. Tres. Four. This does have bumpers on it, so you can lay it on that side correctly. Now, put our braces on, the ugly part on the inside. You don't want to nail through a knot because that's hard. It'll bend your nail. It will not work right. So I'm going to go meow, meow with the glue. Oh, my glue stick fell all the way in. Look at there. That's all right, though. You probably need about that much. Stab it like that. I'm going to eyeball it like that there. That's what I'm going to do. Butter it up. All right. Stay. Don't you? Press down. Oh, we got a little bit of a banger. Oh, 2. Still getting used to this gun. I just got it yesterday. Let's put one here. I'll fix those bangers here in a minute. Beauty. Apparently there's a learning curve to this nail gun, and I curved the other direction. What I like to do with these bangers, instead of trying to cut them off, if you take it like this and you bend it along with the grain, come on, you know what, it's just spinning. Okay, so we're gonna have to do it this way. Like that. It breaks off underneath the surface of the wood, so you don't have a nail sticking out that you have to hit with a nail set and smash in. This one's just barely coming out, so I'm just gonna hit it a few times with a finger smasher just to flatten it out. Now, we did get one on the inside, which sucketh. Bring them back and forth. And it'll break eventually. Like I said, if you snip it off here, there's going to be a little bit of it sticking out, and you got to hit it with your nail set and bend it over and all that. If you do this, it breaks off below the wood grain, so you don't even feel it. It's gone. He gone. Keep your trash can nearby, because you're going to need it. So this one will go here. And glue. Take that excess glue and you can wipe it in any cracks you see. Or if you have a crack in the wood, just wipe it in there. Okay, so this one goes on this side. The other one will go on the opposite side. I think I'm going to butter this part. Like butter. The pencil. Always know where your tools are. Yes, a pencil is a tool. All right, my fancy gluing stick. Kind of like this better than the glue bottles you have with the pointed nose on them, because you got to smear the glue out anyway, so you might as well just do this. This stuff's drying pretty quick in this Arizona heat. It's in May and we're into the hundreds already. Actually, I think it's in the 90s this week, but we have hit the hundreds already. Come visit Arizona. Bring your parka. I actually know a guy. He's the guy that invented air-conditioned car seats, and he licensed it to all the big car manufacturers. Now he's got a motorcycle helmet, a ball cap, a construction helmet that are air-conditioned, and he owns the patent to those. Go look him up online. I forgot his name. I got it in my phone. He was a customer of mine when I used to sell cabinets. If you can look it up, you'll probably find him. Fellow inventor. All right. No bangers, mate. The old nail gun was bulky. This is a little bulky, but man, I'll tell you what, not having to deal with the air is friggin' nice. And I already had like 5 of these batteries already. Got a few of the small ones and a few of the thicker ones. The thicker ones seem to work a lot better in the air blower, blowing the leaves away, and the weed eater. Tell you what, they make a badass weed eater. I'll put that up against any gas weed eater anytime. All right, so we got that part done. Now, let's set this to the side. So this is the part that will fold up into the rafters. I'm going to test it real quick just to make sure it fits like a glove. Man, that is going to be so nice. Let's get some cleanness over here. All right, each one of these, all the same size. That, and that. This, that, and the other. Bing, bang, boom. And just like that, we've got a box. Let's start putting these together. Where did I put that brush just now? Duh. I'll clean the dust off. There's nothing to it but to do it. Twist it as you do. Do the twist. Boy. Not good. Use that to prop it up. Push. You can do it. Fingers out of the way. Boom shakalaka. Alright. Dang it, Dale. Boom shakalaka. Banger. Like that. Got excess glue. Wipe it off of there because we can use it on this board. Already got that one all doped up. I like Cousin Jimmy. He's all doped up. I don't have a Cousin Jimmy. There you go. Kind of annoying. Alright, let's put that banger over there. Bye. Don't forget to write. Stay. Good boy. If these are a little short, it doesn't matter. As long as they're not too long. I hear you people screaming, get your finger away from there. You're gonna shoot your finger. Oh, no bangers. Groovy. Alright, there we have it. One box, and that'll pivot just like the rest. It'll go. And it does make that noise, just in case you were wondering. I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of them together, and we'll be right back. Here's a little trick how you can speed things up too. So take your tape measure, you want a 1/2 inch, and you don't know where your center is going to be, just mark it, and then take your pencil like this, and your fingernails tied up against it like that. Just like that. Nice straight line. You got our 4 boxes made, and I'm determining where to put the first one so that when it spins, this part here doesn't hit this. And I've determined it's a 1/2 inch down and 7 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. And then I'm doing the same here, a 1/2 inch, and I'm centering that. So I'm going to test it. First I'm going to drill this one, 7 3/4, and then 1/2 inch. We're using 1/2 inch dowel, so it'll be down a 1/4 inch from there, and we'll drill a hole for the dowel later. I'm going to use screws temporarily to make sure it pivots correctly, and then I'll drill the holes bigger once I get everything situated. Now, before I drill, I like to take something sharp like a screw or something and put it on there and kind of, I twist the screw counterclockwise when I'm hitting it. To me, it just makes a better hole for your pilot. And I'm going to drill it with a bit that's just big enough for these screws to grip onto it, basically. And make sure you're plumb this way and plumb that way also, so your hole's not crooked. So I drilled this one already, so I'm going to put a screw in this side. All right, and we're going to flip it. Flip it good. Bum, 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 bum. You must flip it. Alright, so that one is in that hole. And you shut your pie hole. Alright, so go all the way through. That way it'll pivot on the part of the screw that doesn't have the threads on it. Just like that there. Okay, so let's make sure it misses. And it does. So we're missing. I didn't want it to hit here. When we put it mounted up in the rafter, it will always stay with the bottom down. Bottoms up. It's going to be a Butte Clark. All right, now I'll figure out how to space X3. be the same distance down, but I got to make sure they miss each other this way. All right, now that I've got all my boxes built, all my holes drilled to 1/2 inch, and the center of it's a 1/2 inch down, and then I just centered it this way. I've drilled these holes, they're a 1/2 inch round, so the dowel fits in there tight. Okay, on these, I drilled a 1/2 inch, but I hogged them out a little bit so it's loose. Because this is going to be glued in here, but where this is on here, it needs to be able to swivel, so the boxes swivel. It'll be glued solid here, and it'll swivel from this point. Now, rather than put all the boxes on here and hoist the whole thing up and try to mount it to the rafter, I'm going to mount this piece first, make sure it works all right, folds up correctly, and I'm going to put the pin in the end so everything is working before I put these boxes in. Not that hard to put these boxes in. Another thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take in between the boxes, there's going to be a little bit of play here, so there's going to be a 1/4 inch gap on each side. So on the dowel, in between the boxes, when I push the dowel through from this side, I'm going to put glue in there, push it through from this side, and it'll be glued to this, but it'll be loose on this part, so it'll make the box swivel. So between there, it's about a 1/4 inch gap on each side. So I'll cut a piece of PVC, a little bit smaller than a 1/4 inch, that this will slide into, and I'll put that piece in here as a spacer. It'll have a little bit of play, so it won't be rubbing against the side here. It'll be evenly spaced. It'll have a little bit of play, so it'll pivot freely. Now to mounting this to the ceiling. All right, what I'm going to do, take these hinges, they're laying flat like that, fold them like this at a 90-degree angle, and put it on here. So I'm going to have one screw go into the side piece, and the other two will go into this back piece and kind of help hold everything together also. So I'm going to screw them to this first, then I'm going to hold it up on the rafters and mark the holes for the hinges, pre-drill them with a tiny little bit, and that'll help me to hang this a little bit easier from the rafter because it's a little bit hard to do by yourself. Finger smasher and a scaroo. Alright, now we're going to pre-drill with the tiniest little bit. I think it's like a 1/16 of an inch. You don't need a whole bunch, just enough to make the screw guide into place. And be careful, I laid this down the wrong way the other day and that bit just snapped because they're so tiny. So this hole here is kind of in the center of the board, so I'm happy with that one, drilling it straight and not split your wood. But the way this one lands, I'm going to drill it a little bit at an angle that way so it gets more meat of the wood. And the same with this one. This one's a little bit closer to the edge here, so I'm going to angle it slightly that way. And a little bit in that way because it's close to the edge here. It'll get a better bite on the wood and it won't follow the same path and split the wood. So all these things you learn over a lot of years. Beauty. Alright, now it's time to hang this beast from the rafters. Can he do it? Stick around and find out. Alright, I was able to improvise and stack wood here on this stool enough to get it up to the right height. Now I'm going to center it between here and then trace the holes for the hinges, and I'll take this down, pre-drill it, and then screw it in. Give that a shot. And also, since this rack's going to be bigger, it's going to have heavier stuff in it, I'm going to go with a bigger screw. See how much bigger that is. And it's a square drive, so it's a lot easier to drive in. Now to start off with, I'm only going to put one screw in each hinge, and then I'm going to hinge it up to make sure it works correctly. Wish me luck. See, she'll hinge upward. Oh yeah, like butter. And I'll show you how I put the latch on. For the spring pin, like this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure up 1 inch from the bottom. And I'm going to find center 14.5, so 7.25 should be center. Beautiful. All right, so we get our finger smasher and a Skaroo pilot hole. And we're going to take a small bit first, kind of get us started. And we're going to take our 1-inch paddle bit and we're going to drill through word of wisdom. When you drill with a paddle bit, don't just keep pushing through, because when you come through this side, it's going to splinter the heck out of the wood. So once you get to where you start seeing that point come through the wood, stop. And then go from the other side and put that little point in that hole, and it'll follow the path of that same hole, and it won't blow out your wood on the other side. Okay, we'll show you how. I like to use the power drill on something like this because it'll wear down your batteries real quick if you use a cordless drill. All right, this one has a nice keyless chuck. Now, what some people don't know is just tightening it like that, there's an extra tightening mechanism on this. You just grab it like this and you hear it twist, tightens it really tight. So let's go here. All right, so I can see the hole on the other side here, so I'll go from this side and the hole should meet in between. And there you have it. Now I'm going to take this cylinder off the spring pin, and I'm going to wipe it down with some solvent first, and I'm going to sand it to get any mill scale off of it. I'll fill this with glue, and I'll push this inside there like that and let the glue dry. Screw that back in, and then we'll mark where the pin hits here. Now you can see I had to do a little bit of planing here because I got it really close. But that's really nice though. We'll put the pin in there, and then I'll take this washer and I'll drill 2 holes in it, and wherever that hole is I'll put it there so that this pin has something to go into. It's not wood, it's got some meat to it, just like this one right here. See that? That pin right there goes into it right there. So you're up against metal, not wood. All right, so I'm gonna take that out and wipe it down with just some, you're gonna use rubbing alcohol. I usually use lacquer thinner or mineral spirits, but I don't have any right here. Should be good just to get any oils, anything off of that so the glue sticks. All right, I'm just gonna take my sanding block. I do this quite a bit so I see shiny metal. And it'll have grooves in it from the sandpaper. That'll help with the gluing process. The glue will stick a lot better. All right, there you have it. Wiped it down with alcohol, sanded it with sandpaper, wiped it down with alcohol again. I'm gonna blow the dust out of here, wipe a good bit of glue in there, put that in there, make sure I have the threaded part on this side. My fancy glue applying apparatus. I'm gonna put a generous amount in there. Kind of twist it as it goes in. Finger smasher. All right, I'm gonna try not to get any glue on those threads because it's kind of makes it hard to screw that thing in. I'll do this stuff later. I gotta wait until that dries so I can put the pin in there and then pull it and push it up against here and smack it with a hammer so it makes a little mark there so I know where to drill, and then that'll pop in there. Hey folks, I want to take a moment to talk to you about back problems. You know, we're all working in these shops and we're bending over a lot. Our backs are hurting. Some of us, like me, have back problems. Now there's an easy solution for back pain relief. In the next clip I show you, I'm going to demonstrate our head-up spinal decompression device. It's a simple device you can put in your living room. It's adjustable, fits your body, and watch the video. Okay, so this is what I was referring to. This is my patented head-up spinal decompression device. The reason we call it that is because you're not having to hang upside down. Your head is in an upright position and you get spinal decompression the same way you would as if you were hanging upside down on an inversion table. All right, so basically all you do is you adjust the legs for your height, and you can use this in the standing position or the seated position. I like to do it in the seated position because it stretches my spine more. And then you adjust the arms here for your torso. And you basically just lower yourself onto the device. And then you relax your lower body. And you can feel it stretching your spine, and man, it feels so good after a day of working, bending over and all that work you're doing, and your back gets sore, you're carrying stuff. it's just a lot of strain on your back, but this thing really stretches it out, man. I can feel it right now. It feels great. So just go to our website and I'll leave a link down below. Thank you and God bless. All right, so I'm going to take my washer and I'm going to drill a hole here and a hole here. And I'm going, since it's metal, I'm going to start with the small bit and then I'm going to progressively go up in bit size till I get it big enough for this screw to go through the hole in here. All right, I've got it clamped on here already. Let's get started. And be careful when you lay your drill down, you don't snap that little tiny bit off. All right, what I like to do, I like to put a little bit of WD-40 in a bottle cap. Dip my drill bit into that WD-40 and it kind of helps cut through the metal. Keeps your bit from burning up. The trick to drilling metal is drill slowly. You don't have to have it on high speed. It bites through the metal quicker. Dip it. Next bit, this one. Now if it keeps snagging like that, what you can do is turn it on high and slowly go in. Like butter. Alright. Perfecto. Wipe the metal shavings off. What I'm also going to do is take a larger bit, drill down just slightly to taper the hole so it matches the taper on the screw so the screw fits somewhat flush. That should do. That'll do you. Alright, she's a beaut, Clark. One of those metal shavings. Magnetism. Wipe the metal shavings off. Screw this thing on so you can see I drilled these two holes and then I chamfered them a little bit so the screws will sit somewhat flat. Flat enough basically. Alright, now for the latch. First thing I'm going to do is screw the pin into the sleeve that we glued in. May have to apply force with the BAPs. Big ass pliers. A little handle unscrews, so I'll take that off temporarily so I don't damage it. These are called channel lock pliers because they have these little channels where you can move this to and make different sizes. Very, very handy tool. Channel lock pliers. That's where to go. Handle and screw it on there just a little bit because I'm going to want to take that off again here in a second. We're going to need our finger smasher. I'm going to fold it up, pull the pin out, push it all the way where it goes, and unscrew this pin. Make sure we've got the same space here and here. And then I'm going to smack this a few times. Alright, pull it back out. So that shows us where we need to drill in here. And that'll show us where we need to put this washer so that the pin goes into here and it's not going into just raw wood. It's got this for strength basically. And what I'm also going to do, rather than put the screw holes on the side where it would fall the grain and possibly split it, I'm going to put the screw holes like this where they're on different parts of the grain. Just keeps it from splitting. Alright, so here we go. Okay, so I'm going to take a pencil and mark that circle so I can see it better. And then I'm going to pilot for that drill bit to go into. Alright, here we go. Alright, now we're going to mark our screw holes. And I'm going to drill those with the tiniest little drill bit. I think it's a 1/16 of an inch. Be very careful you don't break this bit. It's tiny. And we're going to take our handy dandy screwing machine. That sounded weird, didn't it? One screw started. The second one, line it up in your pilot hole and drive them in. A little bit at a time so it doesn't get your washer offset, and bind it up. All right. I believe that's what they call a winner. Turn your handle on. Take your pliers and hold this side of it tight while you crank the handle on. It doesn't come loose. All right, let's see how we did. Beautiful. Look at that. Boxes level out. Good. Rock and roll. All right. I want to play with this thing all day long. It's just, that sounded a little dirty. Dude, I'm right here. This is the older one I did. This is all new material. This is all from pallet material, free stuff. But you can see how much bigger the boxes are in this one. So I'll just put small stuff in these, bigger stuff in these, and then I'll build the rest of them up here out of the bigger ones. Much more storage. And you keep these old rubbing alcohol bottles and you can cut them. And you can put all your stuff in there. Put them in each bin so you have 3 in here. These here are a little wider, so they're either way. I can still get 3 in there. I'll find some type of wider container. I might put them in here. That way you can take each one out, take it to your workbench. When you're done with it, bring it back, put it back in there. And you're done. All right, now we're going to install the baskets. This is oak dowel, 1/2 inch. I wallered these holes a little bit so they're loose because we're going to drive it through, but I'm going to glue it here so it'll be tight in here, but loose in here so it'll make it swivel. All right, so what I do, on one end, I take, this is just wax. Beeswax or paraffin wax, one of the two. So on about half of it, I do this, rub that wax on there. Get a good amount on there. Even though it's hot out, it's over 100 degrees out here, this wax is still hard. Looks like that's probably good enough there on that one. And what we want that for, that's going to be the part that rides on here and spins. So that wax will help it stay lubricated and spin. Probably overkill, but you know what? I don't care because I do what I want. And then what I do is I make sure I mark the side that's waxed because glue won't stick to that. I want the glue to stick to this on the box. So I'll mark W. That means wax. Put that inside there. Okay, now we need the piece of PVC that goes in between there as the spacer. When you cut them, it's a piece that small on the miter saw. Sometimes they shoot out. It's just the luck of the draw. Sometimes you get lucky and they stay on the table. So it leaves a little nib like that. So I'll just take it and sand that nib off. Let's test and make sure we got space. Beautiful. I'll take one of these pegs. I'm gonna take this box. We're gonna glue the snot out of that. Glue, 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 and more glue. Take your first peg. Make sure you got your wax stand out. Put your gasket over it. Put your bucket in there. Push it in about halfway. Put your other gasket. Wipe your excess glue off. And this is a little bit of a balancing act because you got to kind of push the box up against this gasket and slide it down so you can get your pin through. It's kind of a balancing act. So put your pin through, wax end out. All right. Now we can take our finger smasher, get on about halfway in each. Make sure we got goodness. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. It's a little trick also. If you have two hammers, which I don't right now, not here anyway. So you take something heavy, hold it up against the opposite side, but don't hold it tight, just let it bounce. And this hammer will hit it, and this will take up it'll absorb the impact. It'll help it go in easier. Put it on that flat spot. See how I'm letting it pop? I'll do this side so you can see better. I'm just letting this bounce. I'm just holding it up against there. I'm not holding it tight. All right, so that one's in. So that's about as far as you want to go with that one. So I'll just smack this side. And this, again, you can do it like this in this opening here. Just let it bounce. Now you want to wiggle it back and forth. Make sure when you push it this way it's flush and not sticking past it, because you don't want it to rub on this booger up here. So I'll give it a few more smacks. That's pretty good. And then this one, hurt near perfect. Now if you want, on this here you can put a nail through this into the pin if you want. I might just do that. I've got a headless pin nailer, this little headless pin nailer. Now these things are awesome. It shoots a nail. Look how thin that nail is. Doesn't have a head on it, and it doesn't split the wood. You can nail real close to corners, all kinds of stuff with this thing, and it's just awesome. Word to the wise though, if you're nailing trim on or something, let's say this were a piece of trim or cabinet molding and you're nailing it on the cabinet, rather than just nail straight in like that and having it pull off, angle your nails back and forth like that, and that triangulates it and it won't pull off then. Very good piece to add to your kit. And these are, I believe, 1-inch nails. That should be plenty because it's only a 1/4 inch away from here, so I'll put maybe 2 nails in there. Just effortless. It's awesome. That'll help keep that down. All right, I've got 1, 2, 3 more to go. Okay, another thing I did was I put these little 1/4 inch shims that are wedge shaped this way on the corners so that it helps guide this evenly between the studs so the pin goes in correctly, because it wobbles a little bit, but these shims actually help it go straight up where it belongs. So worked out groovy. All right, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, go to our website, headupspine.com. back pain relief, like that. Until next time, in the immortal words of Red Green, if the women don't find you handsome, you might as well find you handy. Stick around and find out.